On those nights when you have trouble falling asleep, don't be in a hurry. Take a slow, deep breath, relax, and listen to the story I am about to tell you. Today, Fluffy has wandered into a storybook. What story awaits her? 1. The Mysterious Beginning. On the outskirts of a quaint village nestled in a gentle valley, Fluffy, a young bunny with soft, snow-white fur, lay in her comfortable bed, her eyes scanning the pages of an ancient picture book that had been passed down in her family for generations. This book, covered in a soft leather that felt soothing to the touch, was filled with tales of adventure, magic, and mystery. The room was filled with the dim glow of a single candle, casting flickering shadows that danced on the wooden walls. The aroma of fresh tea, which sat on a nearby table, filled the air, intertwining with the scent of aged pages from the book. As Fluffy's eyes danced over the pictures, she felt an inexplicable pull. The images seemed more vivid, the colors more radiant. A particular illustration caught her eye. It depicted a magical forest with trees stretching high into the sky, their branches laden with shimmering star-like fruits. Creatures of all kinds roamed freely, basking in the ethereal glow. Fluffy's fingers traced the edges of the illustration, and as they did, a soft, warm breeze blew from the pages. Startled, she sat upright, her ears twitching in surprise. The breeze grew stronger, pulling at her, beckoning her. Before she could react, the force became irresistible, and with a soft whoosh, she was drawn into the book. Blinded by a brilliant light, she closed her eyes. When she opened them, she found herself standing at the edge of the very forest she'd just been admiring in the book. Towering trees with their silver leaves shimmered around her, the air filled with the melodies of unseen birds and the soft whispers of the trees. Fluffy pinched herself, half expecting to wake up in her cozy bed. But the sensation was all too real. The feel of the soft moss under her feet, the distant sound of a bubbling brook, and the gentle warmth of the ambient light filtering through the canopy. Where am I? She wondered aloud, her voice soft and filled with awe. You're in the Whispering Woods, a gentle voice responded. Startled, Fluffy turned to find a wise-looking owl perched on a branch above her. The whispering, what? She stammered, trying to process the situation. The Whispering Woods, the owl repeated patiently. It's a magical realm that exists within the pages of the book you are reading. It seems you've been chosen to embark on an adventure. Chosen? Me? Fluffy asked in disbelief. She was just an ordinary bunny, after all. Why would a magical forest choose her for an adventure? Yes, every few generations, the book chooses someone from the outside world to embark on a journey within its pages. And this time, it seems to have chosen you, the owl explained. But why? And how do I get back home? Fluffy inquired, her thoughts racing. The book has its reasons, the owl said cryptically. As for returning home, you must journey through the Whispering Woods, and as you do, you will come to understand why you were chosen. Fluffy felt a mixture of apprehension and excitement. She missed her cozy room and the familiar surroundings of her village. But here she was, in a magical realm filled with wonders beyond her wildest imagination. Maybe, just maybe, she was meant for this adventure. And so, with the wise owl as her guide, Fluffy began her journey through the Whispering Woods, little knowing that this adventure would change her life forever. Chapter 2: The Path Less Traveled. The Whispering Woods stretched endlessly before Fluffy, a vast expanse of ancient trees, shimmering underbrush, and hidden pathways. With each step, the world around her felt alive, reacting to her presence with gentle whispers and faint, luminescent glows. Her guide, the wise owl named Orion, led her deeper into the forest. "Remember," he cautioned, "in the Whispering Woods, everything has a voice and a story. Listen closely, and the forest will share its secrets with you." Fluffy nodded, her ears perked high, trying to discern the tales the woods had to tell. As they walked, a gentle stream became her companion, its clear waters babbling tales of distant mountains and ancient rains. Every once in a while, Fluffy would pause to touch the water, feeling its cool embrace and listening to its stories. In the heart of the forest, they reached a fork in the path. One route was a well-trodden trail, leading towards a gleaming city in the distance. The other was an overgrown pathway, barely discernible, leading into the deeper, darker recesses of the woods. Orion paused, looking at Fluffy thoughtfully. "The choice is yours," he said softly. "The city is the dwelling of the timekeepers, guardians of the forest's history. They can provide you with answers and perhaps a direct route home. However, the deeper path will take you into the heart of the Whispering Woods, where ancient spirits reside and where the forest's most profound secrets are kept." Fluffy hesitated. The idea of meeting the timekeepers and potentially finding a swift way home was tempting. But something about the untrodden path called out to her, a promise of deeper understanding and mysteries untold. "I choose the deeper path," she decided, her voice firm with newfound determination. Orion nodded approvingly. "Very well, but be prepared. The woods will challenge you, test your resolve, and force you to confront your deepest fears. But in doing so, you may also discover strengths you never knew you had." The deeper they ventured, the more surreal the forest became. Enormous flowers with petals that shimmered in the moonlight towered over them. Bioluminescent creatures flitted about, leaving streaks of light in their wake. The very air was thick with enchantment. As night fell, the duo made camp under a colossal tree whose branches seemed to cradle the stars. Orion conjured a small fire, its flames dancing in hues of blue and purple. Around them, the forest seemed to hum a gentle lullaby, its melody both haunting and comforting. But the forest's beauty also concealed its dangers. One evening, as Fluffy was gathering berries, she stumbled upon a clearing where shadows danced, independent of any light source. Curiosity piqued, she approached, only to find herself surrounded by ghostly figures, remnants of travelers who had lost their way. "Join us," they whispered, their voices echoing with melancholy. "Stay here, and you'll never feel pain or sorrow again." The temptation was strong. Fluffy felt a heavy weight of exhaustion, but remembering Orion's words, she closed her eyes and focused on her heartbeat, using it as an anchor. When she opened them again, the figures had vanished, and in their place stood a majestic stag, its antlers adorned with flowers and vines. "You possess a strong heart," the stag spoke, its voice deep and resonant. remember always to trust in yourself, and the forest will guide you." Fluffy nodded, tears of gratitude in her eyes. She realized that the Whispering Woods was not just a place, but a living, breathing entity. It was testing her, but also teaching her, preparing her for the challenges ahead. Days turned into weeks, and with each challenge she faced, Fluffy grew stronger, more confident, and more in tune with the forest's rhythm. The path was fraught with both beauty and danger, but with Orion by her side and the lessons of the woods in her heart, she was determined to find her way home and uncover the reason behind her mysterious journey. Beito. Chapter 3: The River of Starlight. The Whispering Woods had been both kind and cruel to Fluffy, leading her through a maze of emotions and challenges. But as she and Orion continued their journey, the dense trees slowly gave way to an open clearing, revealing a sight that took her breath away. A vast river stretched out before them, its waters shimmering under the twilight sky. But it wasn't the size of the river that left Fluffy in awe. It was the water itself. It appeared as though millions of stars had descended from the heavens, lending their glow to the liquid expanse. The river twinkled and sparkled, reflecting constellations that danced playfully upon its surface. Orion, ever the guide, spread his wings wide, gesturing towards the river. "Behold, the river of starlight," he intoned. "A river where the waters of the earth meet the glow of the cosmos. Legends say that it holds the memories of the universe, and those who listen closely can hear the stories of ages past." Fluffy approached the riverbank with a sense of reverence. She dipped a paw into the water, half expecting it to be scalding hot or freezing cold. Instead, it felt like the gentle touch of velvet, smooth and comforting. The stars within the water swirled around her paw, creating patterns that hinted at ancient tales. As night deepened, the two travelers set up camp beside the river. Orion began to weave tales about the river's origin. "Long ago," he began, "when the world was still young, the sky and the earth were deeply in love. They longed to be together but were kept apart by fate. In their sorrow, the sky wept tears of stars, and the earth sent up its waters in yearning. Where they met, this river was born." Fluffy, captivated, lay on her back, staring at the river's reflection of the vast cosmos above. She felt a deep connection, as if the river was a bridge between her own tiny existence and the infinite expanse of the universe. Their days by the river were peaceful. Fluffy would often sit by the water, losing herself in its depths, while Orion would occasionally take flight, hunting for food or simply enjoying the sensation of soaring above the starlit waters. One evening, as Fluffy was gazing into the river, she noticed something peculiar. The stars in the water began to move in a specific pattern, converging to form an image. It was a depiction of a rabbit, much like herself, standing on the edge of a cliff, gazing at a distant mountain. Orion, seeing her fascination, explained, "The river doesn't just show the past. Sometimes, if you're in tune with it, it can offer glimpses of the future or insights into one's destiny." The image resonated deeply with Fluffy. Was this a sign of her path ahead? Was the distant mountain her ultimate destination? Days turned to weeks, and as they prepared to leave the river of starlight, Fluffy felt a change within her. The challenges she'd faced and the beauty she'd witnessed had transformed her. She was no longer just a lost rabbit. She was a traveler of both time and space, journeying to discover not just a way home, but also herself. Before they left, Fluffy took one last look at the shimmering waters, whispering a silent thank you. The river had given her more than just rest. It had provided direction, purpose, and a deeper understanding of her place in the universe. And so, with the image of the mountain fixed firmly in her mind and the blessings of the starlit river in her heart, Fluffy and Orion continued their journey, moving ever closer to their next adventure. Wow. Chapter 4: The Meadow of the Luminous Moon. After leaving the mystical river of starlight, Fluffy and Orion's journey led them through a dense thicket, the sounds of nocturnal creatures all around. Hours of trekking through the dark underbrush seemed endless. However, the forest eventually parted to reveal an endless stretch of grassland, bathed in the gentle glow of a magnificent full moon. "The meadow of the luminous moon," Orion whispered in awe, his eyes reflecting the moon's serene light. "Legends speak of it, but few have ever seen it." The meadow was unlike anything Fluffy had ever seen. The grass, kissed by the moon's glow, shimmered like silver. Dewdrops on blades of grass sparkled like diamonds. The entire landscape was bathed in a soft, silvery light, making it feel as if they'd stepped into a dream. In the distance, Fluffy could see small creatures frolicking. Moonlit rabbits like herself, ethereal deer with antlers that glinted like crystal, and even luminescent butterflies that fluttered about, leaving trails of light in their wake. Orion, ever knowledgeable, began to share tales of the meadow. "This place," he began, "is where the moon comes to play. It is said that when the world was young, the moon was so enamored with the beauty of the earth that she would descend from the sky to dance upon this very meadow." As they ventured deeper into the meadow, Fluffy felt an overwhelming sense of peace. The stresses and dangers of their journey seemed to melt away, replaced by a calm that settled in her heart. They decided to rest here for a few days, taking advantage of the meadow's tranquility. One evening, as Fluffy was exploring, she came across a crystal-clear pond. Its surface perfectly mirrored the moon, creating an ethereal double image. As she gazed into the water, mesmerized by the reflection, she noticed a gentle ripple. From the center of the pond emerged a beautiful figure, a moon spirit. The spirit had the appearance of a graceful woman, her skin and hair seemingly made of pure moonlight. She looked at Fluffy with kind eyes. "Little traveler," she began in a voice as soft as the night breeze, "you have journeyed far and faced many challenges. But remember, every challenge you overcome brightens your spirit, just as the phases of the moon change, leading to its luminous fullness." Fluffy, though initially startled, felt comforted by the spirit's words. The moon spirit shared tales of ancient times, of cosmic dances, and of the deep bond between the moon and the earth. She spoke of the importance of cycles, of growth, and of the rejuvenation that darkness can bring. The days in the meadow were healing for Fluffy. She learned to dance under the moonlight, to listen to the whispered stories of the wind, and to appreciate the beauty of the present moment. Orion, too, seemed to be at peace, often seen meditating under the moon or conversing with the ethereal creatures of the meadow. But as with all things, their time in the meadow of the luminous moon had to come to an end. The journey ahead was still long, and Fluffy was eager to find her way back to her world. On their last night, the moon spirit appeared once more, gifting Fluffy a small pendant. "This," she said, "is a piece of the luminous moon. May it guide you on the darkest nights and remind you of the light within." With heavy hearts but rejuvenated spirits, Fluffy and Orion bid farewell to the meadow. As they ventured forth, the pendant around Fluffy's neck glowed softly, a reminder of the moon's blessings and the lessons she'd learned. Chapter 5: The Tower of Dreams. Following their departure from the meadow of the luminous moon, the horizon slowly presented a silhouette of a towering structure piercing the heavens. As they drew closer, the tower's details began to unveil themselves. Constructed of translucent stones that captured and reflected the world around them, it seemed to shimmer and change with every angle, like a prism. Orion, with a puzzled expression, murmured, "The Tower of Dreams. Legends spoke of it, but in all my travels, I've never come across it." The entrance of the tower was an arched doorway, guarded by two stone statues of sleeping animals, a bear and a fox. Above the entrance, engraved in the arch, was an inscription: "All that is dreamt can be discovered. All that is lost can be found." Fluffy, ever curious, asked, "Orion, what is this place?" He replied, "In the world of stories and legends, the Tower of Dreams is said to be a place where one's deepest dreams and memories come alive. It is a labyrinth of emotions, experiences, and truths. But tread carefully, Fluffy. Not all dreams are pleasant." Despite Orion's caution, the allure of the tower was too strong for Fluffy to resist. Taking a deep breath, she stepped into the Tower of Dreams, with Orion following closely behind. The interior was vast and surreal. The walls pulsated softly with colors, resonating with the heartbeats and emotions of its visitors. Endless staircases spiraled up, while some even seemed to spiral downwards into the skies, a disorienting sight. In the tower, time and space behaved differently. Corridors led to different memories and dreams. Fluffy found herself walking into a childhood memory. She was back in her burrow, snuggled with her family, feeling their warmth. The nostalgia brought tears to her eyes. In another corridor, Fluffy experienced a dream where she could fly. The sensation of wind rushing past and the world below her was exhilarating. The freedom, the joy, it was all so real. But, as Orion had warned, not all rooms held pleasant dreams. In one, Fluffy faced her fears. A massive storm threatened her home, and she felt paralyzed, unable to save her loved ones. It was a reflection of her fear of loss and helplessness. Orion, too, was not immune. In a dimly lit room, he relived a moment of betrayal from a friend, the pain still raw and real. Yet, for every nightmare, there were dreams of hope, love, and joy. One room showed Fluffy a possible future. She was older, surrounded by a new generation of little bunnies, telling them tales of her grand adventures. Days felt like weeks, and weeks felt like mere moments. The tower was a tapestry of emotions, weaving dreams and memories into a mosaic of one's soul. Eventually, Fluffy and Orion found themselves at the top of the tower, where a great observatory stood. Here, the dreams of the world converged, creating a kaleidoscope of stories and wishes. It was breathtaking. Seated at the center of the observatory was an old figure, the Dreamkeeper. With a gentle smile, he greeted them. "Travelers of dreams, you've journeyed through your soul's essence. What have you discovered?" Fluffy, deep in thought, replied that dreams, whether joyous or painful, shape us. They remind us of where we've been, where we could go, and what we treasure. The Dreamkeeper nodded. "Precisely. Dreams are reflections and prophecies. Cherish them. Learn from them." Handing them a small orb filled with swirling lights, he said, "This is a dreamstone. It'll guide you when reality becomes too overwhelming, serving as a bridge between dreams and wakefulness." As they left the Tower of Dreams, both Fluffy and Orion felt a deeper understanding of themselves and each other. The journey had bonded them in unforeseen ways, reminding them of the strength and vulnerability dreams can impart. Chapter 6: Melody of the Moon. Emerging from the Tower of Dreams, Fluffy and Orion's path now took them towards a tranquil valley. The night was settling in, and the stars overhead shimmered with an ethereal glow. But the most captivating sight was the moon. It appeared larger than they had ever seen, bathing the world in its silver luminescence. As they ventured deeper into the valley, they began to notice that everything around them was moving in harmony with the gentle glow of the moon. The trees swayed gracefully, the waters of the brooks glistened and danced, and even the winds seemed to carry a whispered song. Orion, ever knowledgeable, looked at Fluffy and said, "We're approaching the Valley of Lunar Melody. It is said that on certain nights, the moon sings, and all of nature dances to its tune." Fluffy's ears perked up at this. "The moon sings?" she inquired, a mix of curiosity and wonder in her eyes. Orion nodded. "Yes, but not as we do. It's a celestial melody, one that resonates with the very soul of the world." As the night deepened, the world around them grew still, and then, as if on cue, a soft, haunting melody began to permeate the air. It was neither loud nor overpowering, but felt as if the universe itself was humming a lullaby. The waters of the brook began to flow in rhythm, the trees rustled in harmony, and even the stars seemed to twinkle in time with the tune. Fluffy and Orion found themselves swaying, their hearts beating in sync with the moon's song. In a clearing ahead, they saw creatures of the night, owls, fireflies, and nocturnal animals, gathered in a circle, entranced by the moon's serenade. At the center of the circle stood a magnificent old deer, its antlers adorned with shimmering moonflowers. The deer, sensing their presence, beckoned them forward. "Travelers," it began in a deep, melodious voice, "you are fortunate to witness the moon's melody. It is a song of memories, dreams, and hopes, one that binds all living things." Fluffy, her eyes glistening with tears, whispered, "It's beautiful. I feel connected, as if every beat, every note is a part of me." The deer nodded. "That is the magic of the moon's melody. It reminds us of our place in the cosmos, of the bonds we share with every living being." Orion, deeply moved, added, "In all my travels, never have I felt so intertwined with the universe." The night wore on, and the melody continued, each note weaving stories of ages past and dreams of the future. Fluffy and Orion, along with the creatures of the night, listened danced, and let the music envelop them. As dawn approached, the melody began to fade, leaving a profound silence in its wake. The world, having danced to the moon's song, now rested, rejuvenated, and at peace. The deer, its eyes filled with ancient wisdom, spoke, "The moon's melody is a gift, a reminder of the interconnectedness of all things. Treasure this memory, travelers, for such nights are rare." Fluffy, her heart full, replied, "Thank you, for this has been a night of wonders. We will carry the moon's song in our hearts forever." As they left the Valley of Lunar Melody, the first rays of dawn painted the sky, and a new day began. But in their hearts, the melody lingered, a timeless tune of love, hope, and unity. Chapter 7: The Shore of Silence. Following the mesmerizing night of the moon's melody, Fluffy and Orion journeyed toward a vast expanse of land, guided by a gentle sea breeze. The terrain transitioned from the soft grasses of the valley to sandy dunes, signaling their arrival at a coastal region. Upon reaching the crest of the final dune, a breathtaking sight lay before them: an expansive coastline with waves gently kissing the shores and an endless horizon where the sky met the sea. This was no ordinary coast, for there was a profound stillness that enveloped the area, a silence so profound it felt as though time itself had paused. Orion, with a look of deep reverence, whispered, "This is the shore of silence. It's said that here, one can hear the whispered secrets of the universe." Oh. Fluffy's ears twitched, trying to discern any sound, but all she felt was an overwhelming calmness. "It's so quiet," she remarked, her voice barely audible. "It's as if the world is holding its breath." They ventured closer to the shore, and the fine sand beneath their feet seemed to muffle their steps even further. Fluffy noticed that the waves, while visibly moving, made no sound as they lapped the beach. No birds cried overhead, no insects hummed. It was a realm of complete and utter silence. Orion explained, "Legend speaks of this place as a refuge, where the noise of the world is drowned, allowing souls to reflect, heal, and find peace." Fluffy, gazing out at the serene waters, felt a deep connection to the ocean. She thought of her adventures, the challenges she had faced, and the beauty she had witnessed. Here, on this silent shore, everything seemed to fall into perspective. As they walked along the coast, they discovered small alcoves and caves. Inside one such cave, they found ancient inscriptions. Orion, with his vast knowledge, deciphered the markings. "Listen with your heart, for in silence, truth speaks." Intrigued, Fluffy sat down, closed her eyes, and focused inward, allowing the silence to envelop her. As minutes turned into hours, she began to perceive faint murmurs, a harmony of voices that seemed to echo from the depths of the universe. These were not audible voices, but feelings, emotions, and memories from ages past. She saw visions of old civilizations that once graced the world, of majestic creatures that roamed the earth, and of cosmic events that shaped the universe. It was as if the shore of silence held the collective memories of all existence. Orion, observing Fluffy's deep trance, chose not to disturb her. He too sat down, letting the weight of their journey and the wisdom of ages wash over him. When Fluffy finally opened her eyes, the sun was setting, casting a golden hue over the tranquil waters. She looked at Orion with tears of gratitude. "I heard it," she whispered, "the heartbeat of the universe." Orion smiled, understandingly. The shore of silence is not just a place. It's an experience, a connection to the vastness and depth of existence. The duo, feeling rejuvenated and connected on a profound level, decided to camp by the shore for the night. As they lay beneath the starlit sky, they felt a profound sense of belonging, a realization that they were but tiny threads in the grand tapestry of the cosmos. And as the first rays of dawn broke, signaling the promise of a new day, Fluffy and Orion left the shore of silence with a newfound appreciation for the mysteries of the universe and the profound beauty of silence. Chapter 8: The Desert of Soft Sands. Following the profound experiences at the shore of silence, Fluffy and Orion found themselves venturing towards a vast, golden expanse on the horizon. As the grasslands gradually gave way to dunes, the air became warmer, signaling their entrance into a desert. But this was unlike any desert they had ever encountered. The sands here were impossibly soft, almost like powdered silk, and they glowed gently, bathing everything in a serene, golden light. As they delved deeper into this desert, each step Fluffy took felt like stepping on a cloud. The sand didn't scorch her feet, nor did it rise in blinding storms. It felt comforting, like a warm embrace. Orion, gazing around, remarked, "This is the Desert of Soft Sands. Legends speak of it as a place where the sands have been touched by the tears of angels, granting them their unique softness." Fluffy bent down, letting the soft grains slip through her fingers. There was an almost musical quality to the sands. They hummed a lullaby that seemed to resonate with her very soul. Night approached quickly in the desert, and with it, the sands began to glow brighter. The entire desert seemed to be illuminated by a soft, ethereal light. Fluffy and Orion decided to set camp amidst a dune, enveloped by the mesmerizing beauty around them. As they lay down, Fluffy noticed that the sands seemed to shape themselves according to their forms, creating the most comfortable bed she'd ever known. Above them, the sky was a canvas of stars, each twinkling and casting its reflection on the sands below. In the heart of the night, as Fluffy and Orion were drifting into a gentle sleep, they were awakened by a soft melody. The sands around them began to move and shape, giving form to ethereal figures that danced gracefully around them. These were the spirits of the sands. Orion, always the knowledgeable one, whispered, "They are the guardians of this desert. It's rare for them to show themselves. We are truly privileged." The spirits danced in harmonious patterns, their movements telling tales of ages gone by. Fluffy was entranced, feeling each emotion as the spirits conveyed stories of love, loss, hope, and dreams. The dance was a celebration of life itself. As dawn approached, the spirits began to merge back into the sands, leaving behind patterns that told tales of their dance. Fluffy, deeply moved, etched one of the patterns onto a small parchment she carried, hoping to remember this magical night forever. The next day, as they continued their journey through the desert, Fluffy and Orion came across an oasis. A clear pond surrounded by date palms and colorful flowers. It was a haven for travelers. They refilled their water supplies and shared stories with fellow travelers. One elderly traveler upon hearing their tale of the dancing spirits, said, "You've been blessed by the desert of soft sands." It's said that those who witness the dance of the spirits carry the desert's blessings with them, spreading its magic wherever they go. Fluffy and Orion spent the day at the oasis, resting and gathering strength for the next leg of their journey. As they departed, Fluffy took a handful of the soft sand, keeping it as a memento of the desert's magic. The desert of soft sands was not just a passage in their journey, but a testament to the wonders of the world, where even the harshest environments could hold immeasurable beauty and magic. Chapter 9: Return to the Whispering Forest. Following their journey through the desert of soft sands, Fluffy and Orion came upon the dense canopy of the Whispering Forest. This wasn't the duo's first visit. They had been here at the start of their journey. But this time, everything seemed different. The trees seemed to stand taller, the foliage denser, and the sounds. The woods were alive with whispers. The entrance to the forest was marked by an arch of intertwining branches, and as they stepped beneath it, a hushed silence enveloped them. The ground was soft with layers of moss and fallen leaves. Sunlight streamed through the gaps in the canopy, casting dappled light patterns on the forest floor. The deeper they ventured, the more pronounced the whispers became. "Can you hear them?" Fluffy whispered to Orion, her voice almost drowned out by the surrounding murmur. Orion nodded. "Every leaf, every branch, they're speaking, sharing tales of the ages, of travelers past, and of dreams yet to come." It wasn't just the sounds that were intriguing. The forest seemed to be in a state of gentle flux. Trees would subtly shift their positions, and paths would appear and disappear, guiding the travelers in a gentle dance through the woods. As they walked, Fluffy felt a strange sensation. It was as if the forest recognized her, welcoming her back. She began to understand the language of the trees. Their whispers were not just random noises, but conversations. The forest spoke of times when it was young, of ancient travelers, and of Fluffy and Orion's previous visit. At the heart of the forest stood the oldest tree, known as the Elder Tree. It was here that Fluffy and Orion were headed. Legends spoke of the tree's wisdom and its ability to bridge the gap between realms. The base of the Elder Tree was surrounded by a clear pond, its surface mirroring the tree's majestic branches. As Fluffy and Orion approached, they noticed a figure sitting by the pond, a wise old owl with silver feathers and penetrating eyes. It was the guardian of the Whispering Forest. "Welcome back," the owl intoned. "The forest has been waiting for you." Fluffy approached the water's edge, and as she gazed into the pond, memories of her previous journey came flooding back. She saw herself as a young bunny, full of curiosity and wonder, embarking on her first adventure. The forest had played a crucial part in her journey, guiding and protecting her. Orion, always eager for knowledge, engaged the owl in conversation. They spoke of the forest's history, its mysteries, and the bond it shared with its travelers. As night fell, the forest was bathed in a soft luminescence. The trees glowed with a gentle light, and the pond shimmered under the moon's reflection. The whispering grew louder, turning into a melodious song that filled the forest. Fluffy, Orion, and the owl sat by the pond, listening to the forest's song. It was a lullaby, telling tales of love, adventure, and dreams. It spoke of the eternal bond between nature and its travelers, and the endless cycle of life. The next morning, after bidding farewell to the guardian owl, Fluffy and Orion set out to leave the forest. As they walked, the trees whispered their goodbyes, and the paths guided them towards the forest's edge. Emerging from the whispering forest, Fluffy felt a deep sense of gratitude. The forest had not only welcomed her back, but had also shared its wisdom and memories. It was a reminder that nature was always there, guiding, protecting, and whispering tales of the ages. And as they continued their journey, the gentle whispers of the forest stayed with them, a reminder of the magic and wonder of the world around them. Chapter 10, Dawn's Homecoming. As Fluffy and Orion emerged from the whispering forest, a warm gust of wind greeted them. The horizon was tinged with the first hues of dawn, oranges and purples melting together, heralding the arrival of a new day. The long journey, filled with wondrous adventures and mysterious realms, was nearing its conclusion. Home was not far now. The path ahead was lined with fields of golden wheat that swayed gently, their tips catching the first light of day. It was in this serene landscape that Fluffy's thoughts began to drift back to her family and friends. She remembered the cozy burrow she called home, the sound of her siblings playing, and the comforting scent of her mother's fur. It had been so long. Orion, sensing Fluffy's emotions, gently nudged her. "Almost there," he whispered, a hint of excitement in his eyes. The two continued in companionable silence, lost in their thoughts. As they walked, the dawn began to break in earnest. The world was awash with light, the colors vivid and fresh. Birds began their morning chorus, and the world seemed to be waking up alongside them. Coming upon a hill, Fluffy and Orion decided to rest for a moment. From this vantage point, they could see the entirety of their land stretched out before them. There, in the distance, was the familiar silhouette of Fluffy's village. Smoke rose gently from the chimneys, and even from this distance, the signs of life were evident. The journey had taught Fluffy many things. She had encountered realms beyond her wildest dreams, met creatures of legend, and faced challenges that tested her courage. But above all, it had taught her the value of home and the irreplaceable warmth of family. Laying on the grass, Fluffy closed her eyes, letting the memories wash over her. She remembered the tales her elders would tell, stories of brave bunnies and magical realms. As a child, she had always dreamed of adventures, of discovering new lands. But now, as she lay there with the scent of home in the air, she realized that sometimes the most significant adventures were the ones that brought you back home. Orion, ever the guardian, watched over Fluffy as she rested. He too had learned much from this journey. His bond with Fluffy had grown stronger, and he had come to appreciate the simple joys of life. The thrill of discovery, the warmth of companionship, and the comfort of familiar surroundings. As the sun rose higher, casting its golden glow on the world, Fluffy stirred. Looking up, she met Orion's gaze. Without words, they both knew it was time. The descent down the hill was filled with anticipation. Every step brought them closer to the familiar sights and sounds of home. As they approached the village, the first signs of life began to emerge. Bunnies of all sizes scurried about, and the sound of laughter filled the air. Fluffy's return was met with joy and celebration. Her family rushed to greet her, wrapping her in warm embraces. The entire village turned out, eager to hear tales of her adventures. As the day wore on, Fluffy regaled them with stories of magical forests, shimmering deserts, and ancient towers. That night, as the village settled down, a great feast was held in Fluffy's honor. The joy and warmth of the community were palpable, and as Fluffy looked around, she knew she was truly home. Lying in her burrow that night, Fluffy felt a deep sense of contentment. The journey had been long and filled with challenges, but it had also been a journey of discovery. And as she drifted off to sleep, she knew that the greatest discovery of all was the realization of the love and warmth that awaited her at home.